Now, our feature presentation.
Top of the morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Management Advisory Club meeting, but welcome to Chapter 8 of our Spring Break Workshop Spectacular, but not just any other WMA Club meeting. It is our very special St. Patrick's Day edition of our WMA Club meetings. And I know I'm not wearing any green, but I know the room is green. And just in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, only wear a hat. Go Yankees, by the way. So you see me wearing this today for a meeting. So, it's kind of unusual, but it's St. Patrick's Day, so why not? Or even, I'll even go one further. And wear this today. See? Trying to be funny here. All right. So this one, I actually been waiting for this one for ever since we started the Spring Break Workshop Spectacular. And this time, we're going to be talking about international wealth management. Yes, you did not know that there is actually international wealth management, because there is. So, you guys are ready? I know I'm also ready. Let's get this party started, baby. And hope everyone is going to have a happy St. Patty's Day. Let's kick this off. All right. Let me do that real quick. All right, let me just do this one quick. No. All right. Room. All right, here we go. Chapter 8, International Wealth Management. All right, so we got a lot to cover in so little time. So here we go. We're going to talk about first, what is international wealth management? Why is it important? I'm also talking about the differences between domestic and international wealth management. We're also talking about the challenges facing in managing international wealth. We're also talking about the global wealth landscape, some strategies for international wealth management, the regulatory framework, and managing risk in international wealth management. And then obviously we'll wrap it all up with a conclusion, as always. So let's kick it off by talking about what is international wealth management, because it's very different from U.S. wealth management. So international wealth management is the practice of managing the financial assets and investments of high net worth individuals or businesses across multiple countries or regions, which is different from U.S. wealth management. So all of our friends up in Vancouver, this workshop's geared towards you guys. So, wanted to get you guys in on this one. So really fun. It involves a range of financial services, including investment management, financial planning, tax planning, and estate planning. So let's now talk about why is it even important? Even for, students in the United States, why is international wealth management even important? Well, managing wealth in the global economy is becoming increasingly important due to the global nature of businesses and investment opportunities. High net worth individuals and businesses are increasingly looking to diversify their investment portfolios across various countries and regions to maximize their returns and minimize risks. Managing wealth in global context also requires a deep understanding of the local regulations, tax laws, and cultural differences in each country or region, which can be challenging without the help of a professional wealth manager. Hence, international wealth management is crucial for individuals and businesses seeking to optimize their wealth across borders while minimizing risk and complying with local regulations. So, now let me just separate the differences between domestic and international wealth management. Now, what I mean by domestic, that is basically United States wealth management. When I say domestic, it's U.S. International is everyone else. So Vancouver, Mexico, United Kingdom, Russia, Japan, Germany, as an example. So the key differences between domestic and international wealth management lies in the complexity and scope of managing wealth across multiple countries or regions. And some of the differences are as follows. Regulatory framework, which basically domestic wealth management is governed by a single set of regulations, whereas international involves navigating multiple regulatory frameworks across different countries and regions. Taxation. Domestic wealth management focuses on taxation laws in one country. International involves understanding tax laws of multiple countries and how they apply to as an individual or business financial assets. The cultural differences. I think this is probably the biggest one. It's kind of one most outstanding of the bunch, if you know what I mean. Domestic wealth management is often familiar with the cultural nuances of one country. International, it's multiple countries. which requires an understanding of different cultures, languages, and customs between countries. And I'm not joking. Like, you have to understand them. And also investment opportunities. Domestic wealth management focuses on the investment opportunities within one country, while international wealth management offers a more extensive range of investment opportunities across multiple countries and regions. So let's now talk about some challenges that are faced in managing international, because there's a lot, but I'm only going to talk about 5 to be exact. Now, I am not going to talk about regulatory framework and taxation and the cultural differences because I already talked about them already. But I am going to talk about 2 of them: currency risk and security risk. Currency risk is probably the biggest one out of all of them, because actually currency risk and security risk, in my opinion, basically the 2 biggest ones. Because again, currency risk, internationally, there's a bunch of currencies out there internationally. And domestically, there's only one, basically one country. If, for example, the United States, that's really the USD, as an example. So international wealth management involves managing investments across different currencies with increases the risk of currency fluctuations. As security risk, international wealth management requires managing the security risk associated with transferring wealth across borders, as it can be challenging to ensure that the assets remain safe and secure. But for this, since it's St. Patty's Day, I will cover all of them because I'm such a nice guy. And I'll put this back on because I'm such a nice fella. So getting back now to the other 3 challenges. Regulatory complexity, which international wealth management is complicated by the multiple regulatory frameworks that exist across various countries and regions. And then taxation, international tax laws are complex and can be challenging to navigate without the help of an experienced wealth manager. And then finally, cultural differences, managing wealth across multiple countries and regions, requiring understanding of the culture, customs, different languages. So let's now talk about the global wealth landscape. The global wealth landscape refers to the distribution of the wealth across the world. According to a report by Credit Suisse, the total global wealth in 2021 was approximately, and get this, $418 trillion, within the United States, China, and Japan being the top 3 countries in terms of wealth. The report also stated the number of millionaires worldwide has reached 56.1 million. Which, if you round that, it's 56 millionaires. 56 million, with an average wealth of 4.9 million. And the key players in international wealth, which are, and by the way, UBS, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan Chase & Co., Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Julius Baer, and Pickett. Just as a plug, UBS will be coming and speak to WMA Club March 30th. JP Morgan Chase Co. will be speaking to us on March 20. March 28th. And if you want to watch when Goldman Sachs came to WMA Club and had Christopher Winters come and speak to us, go back to our archives and watch that meeting. And then HSBC will be coming in next week. Yes, next Thursday to be exact, on March 23rd at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the Mansion, Room 12, Dickinson Hall, Room 1104, and on Zoom and WMA Club socials as well. So let's now talk about the distribution of wealth across the countries. The distribution of wealth across the countries and regions is not evenly distributed. According to the Credit Suisse Wealth Support Report in 2021, North America and Europe had the highest wealth per adult, while Africa and India had the lowest wealth per adult. The report also stated that the top 1% of the global population owns 43% of the world's wealth, while the bottom 50%, they only earn 1. They only own just the 1. And here's some statistics of the distribution of wealth across numerous countries and regions. So North America has an average wealth per adult of $486,250. Europe has the average wealth per adult, $238,000. Asia Pacific, their average wealth per adult is $117,000. Latin America, $24,000, Africa, $5,000, and India, $14,300. Now, again, this was based off the Credit Suisse Global Wealth Report back in 2021, so these numbers might have changed. But again, this is based on the data that we have looked up. So let's talk about some strategies in international wealth management. And there basically are 5 of them: asset allocation, currency management, regulatory compliance, cultural awareness, and professional advice. Professional advice, I really won't go over because, again, it's very simple. Go seek someone who actually has advice in the global scheme of international wealth management. Cultural awareness, basically develop understanding the local customs. That's very, very straight. forward. But I will talk about the other three. And we did talk about asset. I think we did talk about asset allocation. I think we did on a workshop. If we did, go check out our archives to see if I did. If I didn't, please put in the comment section below, because we will actually do that for a workshop if we did not do that yet. So asset allocation, diversify your investment portfolio across multiple asset classes, such as equities, bonds, and real estate to minimize the risk and maximize the returns. And then currency management, manage currency risk by investing in a range of currencies or using hedging strategies to minimize the impact of currency fluctuation. And then regulatory compliance, ensure that you are complying with local regulations and tax laws in each country or region where you have financial assets. And you know what, just for shiggles, I'm just going to check, because I think we did do this. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. So again, I apologize. But we did talk about asset protection, and that was actually 2 chapters ago. So if you want to go watch that meeting after this, go watch it on our YouTube page or on our website. So here are some examples of successful international wealth management strategies. I already talked about diversification already, and I did talk about tax planning. But again, since St. Patty's Day, I'm going to go over all of them because I'm such a nice guy. Diversification. One successful strategy for managing wealth in a global context is to diversify investments across multiple countries or regions. For example, an investor may invest in a range of stocks, bonds, and real estate in different countries to minimize risks and maximize the returns. Tax planning. We already talked about tax planning. If you guys want to watch that workshop, go to our YouTube page after this meeting to watch that in its entirety. Another successful strategy for managing wealth in a global context is tax planning. For example, an investor may establish a company in a low-tax jurisdiction to minimize tax liabilities on its investments. And then finally, currency hedging. Currency hedging is another successful strategy for managing wealth in a global context. For example, an investor may use financial instruments such as futures or options to hedge against currency fluctuations. So why is it even important to diversify, or even more specifically, why is it important for use diversification in international wealth management? Well, diversification is crucial in international wealth management because it helps to minimize risks and maximize returns. Investing in a range of asset classes and across different countries and regions help to spread risk and reduce the impact of market fluctuations. For example, if an investor had all their investments in a single country, they could suffer significant losses if the country experiences economic or political instability. In contrast, an investor has investment in multiple countries, the impact of any one country's instability is likely to be less severe. Diversification is also essential for managing a currency's risk, as investing in a range of currencies can help to offset the impact of currency fluctuation, which again, even if you're doing domestic wealth management or international wealth management, it is important to diversify your assets. It is important to do that. Let's now talk about regulatory framework. Before that, so regulatory framework in international wealth management is subject to a complex regulatory framework that involves multiple jurisdictions and regulatory bodies. The regulatory framework includes both domestic regulations in each country or region where a wealth manager operates and international regulations that apply to cross-border transactions. And there are some key regulatory bodies, which I'm going to talk about all of them right now. We have the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. The FATF is an intergovernmental organization that sets global standards for anti-money laundering, AML, and counterterrorism financing, CTF, not ETF, CTF. FATF's role is to monitor compliance with these standards and provide guidance on their implementation. We also have International Organizations of Securities Commission, or IOSCO. IOSCO is a global organization that sets standards for securities regulations. Its role is to promote cooperation and amongst regulators and develop and implement standards that protect investors and promote market integrity. Next, we have Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, so BCBS. So basically, if you had as a little, it kind of in, the TV station CBS, add a B before the C, and what do you get? The BCBS. Gotta be funny here. So BCBS is a global committee that sets standards for banking regulation. Its role is to develop and implement prudential standards that promote financial stability and sound banking practices. And finally, the Financial Stability Board, the FSB. FSB is an international body that coordinates national financial authorities and international standard setting bodies. Its role is to promote global financial stability by identifying and addressing systematic risks. So here's some challenges that faced by wealth management navigating international regulations. We have complex regulatory landscape. Wealth managers need to comply with a range of domestic and international regulations that are complex and constantly evolving to this day. Keeping with regulatory changes can be challenging, especially for small or medium-sized firms. Cross-border transactions. So, for example, United States and Canada, United States and Mexico, as an example of cross-border transactions. Yes, they both have, US and Canada, they both have the same currency, Canadian dollar and the US dollar. And then with Mexico, it's the US dollar and the peso, as they both cross-border transactions. Wealth managers who deal with cross-border transactions face additional challenges, such as different tax laws, regulatory requirements, and cultural differences. Wealth managers need to have a thorough understanding of the regulations in each country or region where they operate. We also have client confidentiality. This is obviously very, very important in the finance field, even in accounting, as myself being an accounting major myself. Wealth managers need to be balanced the requirements of regulatory compliance with the client confidentiality. This can be challenging, especially when dealing with clients who operate in countries with strict privacy laws. The reputation risk. Compliance failures can lead to significant reputation risk for wealth managers. Wealth managers need to establish robust compliance programs to minimize the risk of the regulatory breaches. And then cost of compliance. Compliance with domestic and international regulations can be expensive, especially for small or medium-sized wealth managers. Wealth managers need to balance the cost of compliance with the benefits of operating in multiple jurisdictions. All right, let's talk about now how to manage risk in international wealth management. And there's basically 5 of them: currency risk, political risk, legal regulatory risk, cultural risk, and operational risk. So currency risk. Oh, actually, I do not have notes I have to talk about here, so I guess I'm going to skip this one because I already talked about all of them. So here's some strategies. Wait. Oh no, I'm sorry. I put them on the other. I'm sorry. I hit the other slide. I'm sorry. Man, I've been all over the place today for St. Patty's Day. All over the place. So let's talk about all the risks. Wait, too far there. All right. So currency risk is the risk of losses arising from fluctuations in exchange rates. Investing in multiple currencies can mitigate this risk, but it can also create additional complexities. We also have political risk. Political risk is the risk of losses arising from changes in government policies, such as tax laws, regulations, or nationalization of assets. Political instability can also lead to economic instability and market volatility. The legal and regulatory risk. Legal and regulatory risk is the risks of losses arising from violations of domestic or international regulations. Failure to comply with regulations can result in legal and reputational consequences. We also have cultural risk. Cultural risk is the risk of losses arising from differences in cultural norms and practices. This can impact business relationships and create misunderstandings. And then finally, operational risk. Operational risk is the risk of losses arising from the failure of internal processes, systems, or personnel. This can include failure in the cybersecurity, data protection, and internal controls. So now we're back on track here. The strategies for managing these risks: diversification, professional advice, cultural awareness, which I already talked about already. Basically, multiple times in the presentation, but I will talk about 2 of them: compliance programs and risk monitoring and assessment. Establishing robust compliance programs that comply with domestic and international regulations can help to minimize legal and reputational risk. And then risk monitoring and assessment, which regularly monitoring and assessing risk can help identify potential risks and address them proactively. So why really is risk management even important in international wealth management? If you just want to learn about risk management, go back to our previous meetings to watch that. I believe that was, if I remember correctly, that was that? I could have sworn that we did one of these for. I thought we did. I think we did. I think we did. I just don't remember. I guess we forgot. I guess we didn't do that. Oh, I think risk management that we did talk about. Okay. All right. So why is even risk management important? Well, risk management is crucial in international wealth management as it helps to identify potential risks and implement strategies to mitigate them. Failures to manage risk effectively can result in significant losses and damage to the reputation of wealth managers. By implementing robust risk management practices, wealth managers can protect themselves and their clients from potential risk and ensure the long-term success of their business. So, in conclusion, and this is going to probably be a long one, and trust me, this is going to be a really international wealth management involves managing wealth in a global context and requires a different set of strategies and approaches to domestic wealth management. Wealth managers need to navigate a complex regulatory landscape and manage a range of risks associated with investing in multiple currencies, political instability, legal regulatory compliance, cultural differences, and operational failures. Successful international wealth management requires diversification, professional advice, compliance programs, risk monitoring, and cultural awareness. International wealth management is crucial in the global economy as it enables individuals and businesses to invest and diversify their assets across multiple regions, currencies, and asset classes. It helps to manage risks and achieve better investment returns by taking advantage of opportunities available in different countries and regions. And then finally, recommendations for individuals or business seeking to manage their wealth internationally. Basically, work with experienced wealth managers who have expertise in managing international wealth, improve track record of success, establish clear investment goals and objectives, and develop a comprehensive investment strategy that takes into account the risk and opportunity of investment in different countries and regions. Diversify investments across multiple asset classes, regions, and currencies to minimize risk and achieve the better returns. Develop a robust compliance program that complies with domestic and international regulations to minimize legal and reputational risks. Regularly monitor and assess risks, identify potential risks, and address them proactively, and develop cultural awareness and understanding of local customs, languages, and cultures in every country or region where wealth is managed to minimize cultural risk. In conclusion, international wealth management is a complex and challenging area that requires a deep understanding of domestic and international regulation, risks, and opportunities. By following the recommended strategies and seeking professional advice, individuals like you and our members and businesses can successfully manage their wealth in a global context and achieve their investment objectives. All right, that is it for our St. Patrick's Day special, our chapter number 9 of our spring break workshop spectacular. We have 3 more chapters to go. I know it's actually 4 chapters left to go. I'm sorry. I should guess myself there. I know we're there. So tomorrow, you guys will be seeing me again as we will be talking about Family Office Services Workshop. You may have heard that term before because actually one of our speakers in the past, Wisdom Co, actually does a family office services division. Just want to throw that plug there for chapter 9. So, with that being said, that is it. Until next time, until tomorrow, have a great St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy yourself, and we'll see you all tomorrow. And the last thing I'll say, from all of us here at the WMA Club, I'd like to wish you all a happy and healthy St. Patrick's Day. Please drink responsibly, and we will see you all on Saturday for chapter 9 of our spring break workshop spectacular. Bye-bye.